Bandeham Shri Guru Shiyata Parakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Ragunatam Vitam Tam Sabjivam Sadvaitam Sabadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shivishakam Vitam Sha Om Jnana Timarandasya Gyanajana Shalakaya Chakshuram Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah Gorva Bishtam Supurakam Gurganara Sesha Sambhushitam Chintya Chintya Samasta Veda Nipunam Shri Rupa Patanagam Govindabhidam Ujwalam Varatanam Bhaktyan Vitam Sundaram Mande Vishwa Gurunsha Divyad Bhagavat Premnawe Bijapranam Devam Divyatanam Suchantavaranam Balarka Shailanshitam Sandrananda Puram Sareka Varanam Vairagya Vidyam Buddhim Shri Siddhanta Nidhim Subhakti Lasitam Saraswatanam Varam Bandetam Shivaram Maneka Sharanam Nyashishwara Shridaram Vanshakopatarubyas Chakripa Sindhu Bhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Nama Namo Mahabaranyaya Krishna Prema Pradayate Krishnaya Krishna Chaitanya Namane Gauratavishe Nama. So reading from Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami. Translation and commentary by Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada. This is Adi-lila chapter 7, Lord Chaitanya and 5 features. This chapter is about the Pancha-tattva. Okay. Jata jata prema vrishti kore pancha jane tata tata bare jala bhyape tribhuvane. This is text 28 of this. Jata jata prema vrishti kore pancha jane tata tata bare jala bhyape tribhuvane. The more of the 5 members of the Pancha-tattva cause the rains of love of Godhead to fall, the more the inundation increases and spreads all over the world. So this is a nice analogy. It's talking about the inundation of love of Godhead that Lord Chaitanya brought with and working through the Pancha-tattva, through the preaching of the Pancha-tattva. And what's interesting also about this is where it's very common in East Bengal and West Bengal for there to be flooding. That happens in the rainy season. In Navadip, it happens not just because so much rain is falling. There's a lot of rain falling, but it's happening more when the rain is falling up in Upper Bengal, in north, I guess you would say. Well, in Upper Bengal, the rain is falling, and then all the rain comes into the Ganga, and then the Ganges becomes swelled, and then when it comes to Navadip in particular, there is flooding. But it's not just the rain falling in Navadip, it's the rain that's falling further up in Bengal. So the analogy of the flood of love of Godhead is appropriate, and it's appropriate especially for Bengal. I mean, remember Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he used one saying, which was kind of illustrates that. He said, Porber neye paschimer meye uttarer akata dakiner mata. So if you go to East Bengal, Porber neye, you get a good boatman. That's how you translate it. If you go to West India, like Bombay, Porber neye paschimer meye, you'll get a good wife. If you go to Uttarer Kata means in the north, and Guru Maharaj would explain like Ashram, the Veda Vyas. Uttarer Kata, Dakiner Mata. And Uttarer you get, in the north you get good language, or good kata, And in the south you get a good brain, Dakiner Mata. And that was also explained because practically all the acharyas came from South India. So that was a saying. But you can see, Purbirnei, that the analogy of here of a flood of God, love of God, and flooding is not unknown in Bengal. It's not unknown in Navadip. It's not unknown in East Bengal either. So the idea of a flood. But this is a flood during Mahaprabhu's time, a flood of love of Godhead. So mayavadi karma nishta kutarkika gan, nindaka pashande jata paruya adam, se sab mahadaka dana palaila, se banyata sabare, chunite narila. The impersonalists, fruitive workers, false logicians, blasphemers, non-devotees, and lowest among the student community are very expert in avoiding the Krishna consciousness movement, and therefore the inundation of Krishna consciousness cannot touch them. So these are persons who are normally not easily encompassed within a spiritual mission, but Mahaprabhu has other plans. The impersonalists, fruitive workers, means the mayavadis. Here it says karma nishta. How you would translate karma nishta, Maharaj? Karma nishta.
Persons fixed upon worldly
interests. Those who are especially immersed in karma. Karma often means work. So here it says fruitive workers. But we can also say it refers to those who are looking towards the Vedas for some elevation to higher positions. So impersonalists, fruitive workers, then because here it seems a lot of this is being related to philosophical standpoints. Mayavadi's karmanishta kutarkika gan. Kutarkika here is translated as false logicians. There are those who are so those kind of persons who are philosophically averse to devotion and non-devotees and lowest among the student community are very expert in avoiding the Krishna conscious movement, and therefore the inundation of Krishna consciousness cannot touch them. So you can also understand that normally when we're talking about a spiritual movement, these are persons who are not easily encompassed within that. So that's where we got last time, and then Tata Deki Mahaprabhu Korana Chintan Jagat Dubai Teami Korilun Jatan Keho Adi-lila Pratigya Hoila Banga Ta Sava Dubai Te Patiba Kichuranga. Seeing that the mayavadis and others were fleeing, Lord Chaitanya thought, I wanted everyone to be immersed in this inundation of love of Godhead. But some of them have escaped, therefore I shall devise a trick to drown them also. Here's an important point. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wanted to invent a way to capture the mayavadis and others who did not take interest in the Krishna consciousness movement. This is the symptom of an acharya. An acharya who comes for the service of the Lord cannot be expected to conform to a stereotype, for he must find the ways and means by which Krishna consciousness may be spread. Sometimes jealous persons criticize the Krishna conscious movement because it engages equally both boys and girls in distributing love of Godhead, not knowing that boys and girls in countries like Europe and America mix very freely. These fools and rascals criticize the boys and girls in Krishna consciousness for intermingling. But these rascals should consider that one cannot suddenly change a community's social customs. However, since both the boys and the girls are being trained to become preachers, those girls are not ordinary girls, but are as good as their brothers who are preaching Krishna consciousness. Therefore, to engage both boys and girls in fully transcendental activities is a policy intended to spread the Krishna conscious movement. These jealous fools who criticize the intermingling of boys and girls will simply have to be satisfied with their own foolishness because they cannot think of how to spread Krishna consciousness by adopting ways and means that are favorable for this purpose. Their stereotyped methods will never spread Krishna consciousness. Therefore, what we are doing is perfect by the grace of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for it is he who proposed to invent a way to capture those who strayed from Krishna consciousness. So I think this is a very good purport. It shows Prabhupada's method of spreading Krishna consciousness, that he's engaging equally men and women. And I think if somebody says that this mission is like male, consisting of male chauvinists, for instance, I would say that that's completely wrong, because if somebody reads or hears this purport, they'll understand what is the intended purpose of how Srila Prabhupada set up the mission in the West. And I think basically it's going on according to those parameters, both within ISKCON and also within our society. I know in Mexico, many of the leaders of the temples are ladies. So to say that, and if somebody says, well, so-and-so has this attitude. Well, any individual can have some wrong attitude or their own personal attitude about how things should be done. But the general purpose, as it's how we are spreading Krishna consciousness, you can say it's according to these norms which are mentioned here. So anyway, I think that purport speaks for itself. Ita boli mani kachu korea bichar, sannyasa shrama prabhu koila angikar. Thus the Lord accepted the sannyas order of life after full consideration. There was no need for Mahaprabhu to accept sannyas, for he is God himself and therefore has nothing to do with the material bodily conception of life. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did not identify himself with any of the 8 varnas and ashramas, namely Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Brahmachari, Grihastha, Vanaprastha, and Sannyas. He identified himself as the Supreme Spirit, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, or for that matter, for any pure devotee never identifies with these social and spiritual divisions of life, for a devotee is always transcendental to these different gradations of society. Nevertheless, Lord Chaitanya decided to accept sannyas on the grounds that when he became a sannyasi, everyone would show him respect and in that way be favored. Although there was actually no need for him to accept sannyas, he did so for the benefit of those who might think him an ordinary human being. The main purpose of his accepting sannyas was to deliver the mayavadi sannyasis. This will be evident later in this chapter. Of course, I will say that he did deliver the mayavadi sannyasis, but his purpose in accepting sannyas was also to bring everyone who was previously outside of considerations, just as we heard about the mayavadis, karmanishtas, the false logicians, all these persons normally would have been outside of the scope of the preaching work that was going on, because they felt themselves to be separate. But when Mahaprabhu took sannyas, he worked within he did so for bringing everyone closer to him in that way, and it worked for bringing people to Krishna consciousness. Srila Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Thakur has explained the term mayavadi as follows. A Supreme Personality of God is transcendental to the material conception of life. A mayavadi is one who considers the body of the Lord or the body of Krishna to be made of Maya, and who also considers the abode of the Lord and the process of approaching him, devotional service, to be Maya. The mayavadi considers all the paraphernalia of devotional service to be Maya. Maya refers to material existence, which is characterized by the reactions of fruitive activities. Mayavadis consider devotional service to be among such fruitive activities. According to them, when Bhagavatas, devotees are purified by philosophical speculation, they will come to the real point of liberation. Those who speculate are purified by gyan. Those who speculate in this way regarding devotional service are called kutarkikas, false logicians. And those who consider devotional service to be fruitive activity are called karmanishtas. Those who criticize devotional service are called nindikas, blasphemers. Similarly, non-devotees who consider devotional activities to be material are called pashandis. And scholars with a similar viewpoint are called adama paduyas. The kutarkis, nindikas, pashandis, and adama paduyas, that's pronounced right, paduyas? All avoided the benefit of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's movement of developing love of Godhead. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu felt compassion for them, and it is for this reason that he decided to accept the sannyas order. For by seeing him as a sannyasi, they would offer him respects. The sannyas order is still respected in India. Indeed, the very dress of a sannyasi still commands respect from the Indian public. Therefore, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu accepted sannyas to facilitate preaching his devotional cult. Otherwise, he had no need to accept the fourth order of spiritual life. See, this explanation is good, but you can see within the society, still we operate in such a way that we're not causing, in other words, we don't really so much conflict with the norms of society. That's my observation. I mean, we're conducting ourselves in such a way with the public that we can preach to them. That's all I'm saying. Chabishavatsara Chila Grihasta Ashrame Pancha Bimshati Parshe Koila Jati Arme. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu remained in householder life for 24 years, and on the verge of his 25th year, he accepted the sannyas order. And as far as the purport that we read about the vision of the Acharya, now I will say that especially we saw that vision by Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada, Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj. They had that vision for Western society, how to adjust the preaching according to, for Western society. Govinda Maharaj, Prabhupada did so as he mentioned, bringing in men and women into the mission, whereas previously it would be brahmacharis and sannyasis who would run an ashram. But Prabhupada changed that style of preaching, especially for the West. And I would say that Srila Govinda Maharaj further adapted that, and how he did so, Prabhupada was very humble and affectionate, and Govinda Maharaj, also showed how to affectionately deal with everyone. And that was very successful for the preaching. As far as Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he also had his special way of preaching within India. And Guru Maharaj actually was a very great preacher. He spread the Gaudiya Math in many places in India by his preaching. And sometimes that was explained to us, that Guru Maharaj's way of preaching, Govinda Maharaj said he would let opposition persons present their point of view, and then he was very expert in defeating that point of view. In fact, one time, one person in one debate, Guru Maharaj so publicly, so defeated the person that person went into a state of, let's say, lost his composure completely, without going into graphic detail. And even one person told Guru Maharaj that during the time, who was opposed to previously Bhakti-siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he said that previously, during the time of Srila Saraswati Thakur, we were against him, but now we can see that he was right and we were wrong. And how we are able to see this is through you, Srila Sridhar Maharaj, because in you we see three special qualities. Is it three? Yes. Strong common sense. Strong common sense. This is something I know. But strong common sense, uncommon intelligence, and disinterested nature. Those were the points. Strong common sense. Guru Maharaj also, his preaching is based on not complex arguments. He's appealing to common sense. Like Govinda Maharaj gave the example, which I've mentioned, that in the debate, who's the supreme, Shiva or Vishnu or Krishna? And Guru Maharaj gave the simple answer that Lord Shiva accepts the foot water of Vishnu on his head, the Ganga. So then he's showing himself as that he's accepting, he's accepting the foot water, just like that's a principle, that he's showing that as his devotion to the Lord. And other points of common sense, Guru Maharaj was able to establish that. And deep intelligence, Guru Maharaj, very, very, most intelligent. He could adjust anything that he could adjust anything that was out of line with devotion. He could adjust that very nicely. And there's an essay that's Guru Maharaj talks about. There's an essay which talks about the position of the reformer. The reformer doesn't go back to the point of zero, but adjusts things that may be a little wrong. He brings them back into line, but he doesn't start over again. Do you know that essay? It's in Sri Guru and His Grace, about what is needed as reformers. The reformer doesn't go back to the point of zero if something is out of line with devotion, but brings that devotion into the present moment, into adjustment. So it's just a point of view. Strong intelligence, deep intelligence, strong common sense, and disinterested nature. And Guru Maharaj was, he was we can say, one of the foremost preachers in the Gaudiya Math. He established temples in Bombay, in Madras, and other places, in Allahabad, I believe. So, anyways, just going on. Sannyas Korea Prabhu Koila Karshan Jatika Palai Palana Chila Tarki Kadigan. After accepting the sannyas order, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu attracted the attention of all those who had evaded him, beginning with the logicians. Paduya Pashandi Karmi Nindakadi Jat Tarashi Prabhupai Hoy Abanata. Thus the students, infidels, fruitive workers, and critics all came to surrender unto the lotus feet of the Lord. Aparada Kamaila Dubila Primajale Keba Irabye Prabhur Prima Mahajale. Lord Chaitanya excused them all, and they merged into the ocean of devotional service, for no one can escape the unique loving network of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was an ideal acharya. An acharya is an ideal teacher who knows the purpose of the revealed scriptures, behaves exactly according to their injunction, and teaches his students to adopt these principles also. As an ideal acharya, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu devised ways to capture all kinds of atheists and materialists. Every acharya has a specific means of propagating his spiritual movement with the aim of bringing men to Krishna consciousness. Therefore, the method of one acharya may be different from that of another, but the ultimate goal is never neglected. Srila Rupa Goswami recommends Tasmat Kenapi Upayena Mana Krishna Niveshayat Shayet Tasmat Kenapi Upayena Mana Krishna Niveshayet Sarve Vidi Nisheda Shur Etayor Eva Kinkara. An acharya should devise a means by which people may somehow or other come to Krishna consciousness. First, they should become Krishna conscious, and all the prescribed rules and regulations may later gradually be introduced. In our Krishna conscious movement, we follow the policy of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So, I'm just reading this also to show that, here it mentions each acharya has his means of spreading Krishna consciousness. Well, also, we heard about how Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Srila Govinda Maharaj, they were very expert in devising means for preaching in the West. And I will say that Srila Sridhar Maharaj, he was given responsibility by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur as being responsible for the Rupanuga Sampradaya. When people saw that Srila Saraswati Thakur had shown Guru Maharaj in that way before leaving, and so many of the leading devotees of the Gaudiya Math came to Guru Maharaj to take sannyas and to go under his direction, and that's all known. But I'm just mentioning that he did that as an acharya. He showed this. Srila Bhakti Sharanga Goswami Maharaj, he described that we are all, what's the term? Sima Vilochana. He said, no, not V. The glance. Oh, Sima Vilokana. Okay, is that it?
Simha Vilokana.
Yeah, how the lion looks backwards. Sima Vilokana. Okay. When the lion proceeds for some distance, he looks backwards to see what distance he's traversed or covered. And Srila Bhakti Sharanga Goswami Maharaj said that we are proceeding with our preaching, and then we are in that same way looking back to see for the approval of Srila Bhakti Rakak Sridhar Dev Goswami Maharaj. We're seeing if our preaching has been accepted by him, we believe that we are proceeding properly and we are satisfying Srila Saraswati Thakur. That's what's stated by Bhakti Sharanga Goswami Maharaj. So they looked to Srila Sridhar Maharaj for his approval, or for acceptance that they were proceeding properly in their. That was stated by Bhakti Sharanga Goswami Maharaj. And Ban Maharaj, he said that Srila Sridhar Maharaj he has surpassed all of us in his presentation of Prapana Jivanamrita, because he said, we're presenting books, but Srila Sridhar Maharaj has composed this book, although it's consisting of many verses, but he said he has composed this in Sanskrit. He has presented this book in Sanskrit. So it was seen as a great literary accomplishment by Srila Sridhar Maharaj. But we all know these things. We've heard these things before, but I'm just saying that in this way, it is talked about here in these purports about what is the vision of the true Acharya. Now, anyone, for instance, I see the special vision of Srila Bhaktivedanta Swami Prabhupada and Srila Sridhar Maharaj and Srila Govinda Maharaj. And I would say they are ideal acharyas according to what we have heard here, or what is the special vision of the acharya. How the acharya is able to adjust the preaching and the methods of that preaching according to the necessity. Sabanishtarite Prabhu Kripa Bhatar Sabanishtarite Kore Chaturiyapar. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared in order to deliver all the fallen souls. Therefore, he devised many methods to liberate them from the clutches of Maya. Tabe Nija Bhakta Koila Jatamalecha Adi Tabe Adi-lila Matra Kashira Mayavadi. All were converted into devotees of Lord Chaitanya, even the Malechas and Yavanas. Only the impersonalist followers of Shankaracharya evaded him. In this verse, it is clearly indicated that although Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu converted Muslims and other Malechas into devotees, the impersonalist followers of Shankaracharya could not be converted. After accepting the renounced order of life, Mahaprabhu converted many karmanishtas who were addicted to fruitive activities, many great logicians like Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Nindakas, blasphemers, like Prakashananda Saraswati, Pashandis, non-devotees like Jagai and Madai, and Adama Paduya's degraded students like Mukunda and his friends. All of these gradually, this is mentioned here, all of these gradually became devotees of the Lord, even the Pathans, Muslims. But the worst offenders, the impersonalists, were extremely difficult to convert, for they tactfully escaped the devices of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. I don't know about degraded students, but anyway, going on. Like Mukunda and his friends. You have a comment, Maharaj? I just find that remark a little interesting. I think it's said in a humorous way, but it's this Mukunda was. Anyway, Mukunda was practically, as far as I know, he was like a lifelong friend of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Okay. Vrindavana Jayate Prabhu Rohila Kashite Mayavadi Ghanatare Lagila Nindite, and also an ideal devotee. But while Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was passing through Varanasi on his way to Vrindavan, the Mayavadi sannyasi philosophers blasphemed against him in many ways. Sannyasi hoya kore gayana nachan nakore vedanta pata kore sankirtan. The blasphemer said, although a sannyasi, he does not take interest in the study of Vedanta, but instead always engages in chanting and dancing in Sankirtan. What do you think of that? He's not interested in Vedanta. Instead, he's just dancing and chanting. Murka sannyasi nija dharma nahi jane, Bavuka hoya fere, bavukera sane. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an illiterate sannyasi and therefore does not know his real function. Guided only by his sentiments, he wanders about in the company of other sentimentalists. So here's some bavuka. Sentimentalists, also sometimes said to be fanatics, but anyway. This Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is an illiterate sannyasi and therefore he does not know his real function. Guided only by his sentiments, he wanders about in the company of other sentimentalists. Esab Shunya Prabhu, Hase Mani, Upeka Korea Karo, Nakoila Sambhashane. Hearing all this blasphemy, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu merely smiled to himself, rejected all these accusations, and did not talk with the mayavadis. Upeka Korea Koila Matura Gaman, Matura Dekiya Puna Koila Agaman, thus neglecting the blasphemy of the Varanasi mayavadis. Mahaprabhu proceeded to Mathura, and after visiting Mathura, he returned to meet the situation. So he came back to Varanasi. Kashite, Varanasi, also known sometimes as Benares, so wrong name given to it, but Varanasi. Kashite, Lekaka, Shudra, Sri Chandrasekhar, Taragare, Rohila Prabhu, Swatandra Ishwar. This time Mahaprabhu stayed at the house of Chandrasekhar. Although he was regarded as a Shudra or Kayasta for the Lord, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead is completely independent. Tapan Mishra Gare Bika Nirvahan Sanyasera Sangenahi Mani Nimantran. As a matter of principle, Mahaprabhu regularly accepted his food at the house of Tapan Mishra. He never mixed with other sannyasis, nor did he accept invitations from them. Sanatana Gosai Ashi Tahaimilila Tarashika Lagi Prabhu Duma Sharohila. When Sanatana Goswami came from Bengal, he met Lord Chaitanya at the house of Tapan Mishra, where Mahaprabhu remained continuously for 2 months to teach him devotional service. Well, actually, Sanatana Goswami is very extremely intelligent, obviously, and Mahaprabhu taught him for 2 months because Sanatana Goswami, like Rupa Goswami, they're accepted as Shastra Acharyas or Shastra Gurus, and Mahaprabhu taught him all the principles of devotional service that he asked him to compose in the form of literature. And we see especially Sanatana Goswami is in the role of the Sambandha Guru, presenting in his literature what is Sambandha, what is our eternal relationship with the Lord. So then Mahaprabhu met him at Varanasi, instructed him for 2 months. Tare Shikaila Sab, Vaishnavara Dharma, Bhagavat Adi Shastrara Jata Guda Marma. On the basis of scriptures like Srimad Bhagavatam, which reveal these confidential directions, Mahaprabhu instructed Sanatana Goswami regarding all the regular activities of a devotee. Iti Madhye Chandrasekhar Mishra Tapan Duke Hoya Prabhu Bhai Koila Nibedan. And he's instructing him to present all these principles in the main, giving Sanatana Goswami what he would present in his literature, according to Mahaprabhu's deep instructions. Iti Madhye Chandrasekhar Mishra Tapan Duke Hana Prabhu Bhai Koila Nibedan. While Mahaprabhu was instructing Sanatana Goswami, both Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra became very unhappy. Therefore, they submitted an appeal to the lotus feet of the Lord. Kateka Shuniba Prabhu Tomara Nindan Napare Sahite Ebe Chadiba Jivan. How long can we tolerate the blasphemy by your critics against your conduct? We should give up our lives rather than hear such blasphemy. So obviously, Varanasi is one of the places which is very much, let's say, permeated with mayavadis. And Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra they're Vaishnavas, they're Gaudiya Vaishnavas. They can't stand hearing all the ridiculous statements of the mayavadis, and especially the criticism of Mahaprabhu. So how long can we tolerate the blasphemy of your critics against your conduct? We should give up our lives rather than hear such blasphemy. Tomare nindaye jata sannyasis shunitena parivate hridaya shravan. The Mayavadi sannyasis are all criticizing your holiness. We cannot tolerate hearing such criticism, for this blasphemy breaks our hearts. Iha shuni rahe prabhu ishadhashya sekali ek vipra milila asya. While Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar were thus talking with Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he only smiled slightly and remained silent. At that time, a Brahmin came there to meet the Lord. So this is the way things happen, you know. They're telling Mahaprabhu that we can't stand hearing all this blasphemy against you. And at that very moment, knock, 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 one Brahmin comes there, you know. Asinivedana kori chanane dariya ekbastu magun deho prasana hoya. The Brahmin immediately fell at the lotus feet of Mahaprabhu and requested him to accept his proposal in a joyful mood. Sakala sannyasi mui koinu nimantran tumi jadi asiya purna hoy moran man. My dear Lord, I have invited all of the sannyasis of Varanasi, of Benares, to my home. My desires will be fulfilled if you also accept my invitation. So they're thinking, Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra are thinking the situation's intolerable, and now suddenly comes an invitation. Please come to my home. I've invited all the sannyasis of Varanasi, which means all the mayavadis, sannyasis of Varanasi are coming to my home, and I'm inviting you. Na jaha sannyasi goshti iha amijani mora anugraha kora nimantrana mani. My dear Lord, I know that you never mix with other sannyasis, these mayavadis, you never mix with them. My dear Lord, I know that you never mix with other sannyasis, but please be merciful unto me and accept my invitation. So, Prabhu hasi nimantrana koila angikar sannyasire kripalage e bangita har. Lord Chaitanya smiled and accepted the invitation of the Brahmin. He made this gesture to show his mercy to the Mayavadi sannyasis. So they're already saying that the situation is very difficult for them to tolerate. Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar, and now this Brahmin invites Mahaprabhu and all the sannyasis to his house, and Mahaprabhu, out of the norm, accepts the invitation. Here it describes this to show mercy to the Mayavadi sannyasis, and also because he knows that that Brahmin is a devotee, so he's accepting his invitation. Se vipra janan prabhu na jana karagare tahara preranaya tare atyagraha kore. The Brahmin knew that Mahaprabhu never went to anyone else's house, yet due to inspiration from the Lord, he earnestly requested him to accept this invitation. Aradine gela Prabhu se vipra bhavane dekilena basi jachin sannyas siragane. The next day, when Mahaprabhu went to the house of that Brahmin, he saw all the sannyasis of Benares or of Varanasi sitting there. Sab namaskari gela para prakalane, para prakalana kore basila sestane. As soon as Mahaprabhu saw the sannyasis, he immediately offered obeisances, and then he went to wash his feet. After washing his feet, he sat down by the place where he had done so. By offering his obeisances to the mayavadi sannyasis, Mahaprabhu very clearly exhibited his humbleness to everyone. Vaishnavas must not be disrespectful to anyone, to say nothing of a sannyasi. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu teaches, Amanina manadena, one should always be respectful to others, but should not demand respect for himself. So, just remember one incident when I was with Srila Prabhupada. One man came there dressed as a sannyasi, but his clothes were really, sannyas clothes were dark red, really red. And he had long kind of like oiled hair. And Prabhupada told me to offer a garland to him. And so I offered the garland to that man. And then Prabhupada told me, you offer a garland to a sannyasi and you didn't offer obeisances, you should fast today. That's what Prabhupada told me. And then I told Prabhupada, I said, well, Prabhupada, I didn't know he was a sannyasi. I didn't know he was a sannyasi because his dress, it was an indication. His dress was so dark, his hair was kind of, long and oily. So I said, I didn't know he was a sannyasi, Srila Prabhupada. Then Srila Prabhupada said, oh, you didn't know he was a sannyasi? Then you don't have to fast. Which I thought was an odd thing to say in front of the man. Well, we're assuming that maybe, maybe the man didn't know English anyway, but I thought it was an odd remark. Basiya korila kichu, aisparya prakash, mahatejo moy, bapu koti suryavas. After sitting on the ground, Mahaprabhu exhibited his mystic power by manifesting an effulgence as brilliant as the illumination of millions of suns. Prabhave Karshila Sab Sannyasi Raman Utila Sannyasi Sab Chadiya Asan. When the sannyasis saw the brilliant illumination of the body of Mahaprabhu, their minds were attracted, and they all immediately gave up their sitting places and stood in respect. But Mahaprabhu washed his feet and sat down where he washed his feet. That would not be considered a properly clean place. Okay, Prakashananda Nami Sarva Sannyasi Pradhan Prabhuke Kohila Kichu Koriya Saman. The leader of the Mayavadi sannyasis present was named Prakashananda Saraswati. And after standing up, he addressed Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu as follows, with great respect. Ihan Aisha, Shunaha Sripad, Apavitrastane Vaisha, Kiba, Abasad, said, please come here, Your Holiness. Why do you sit in that unclean place? What has caused your lamentation? Why are you sad? Why are you sitting there? Prabhu kohe ami hoi hina sampradaya toma sabai basitena jujaya. The Lord replied, I belong to a lower order of sannyasis. Therefore, I do not deserve to sit with you. I'm not so elevated as all of you. Apane Prakashananda Bhatate Doriya Vasaila Sab Madhye Samana Koriya. Prakashananda Saraswati, however, caught Mahaprabhu personally by the hand and seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. So, first of all, when Mahaprabhu was speaking with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, well, you belong to the Bharati community of sannyas, and that's not considered one of the higher sannyas orders or communities, not like other, what are some of the higher ones, like Tirtha Saraswati, but Bharati is lower on the chain. So he says, I belong to a lower order, because they're really, although they're supposedly mayavadis and everything's Brahman, they actually have their pecking order as to what is considered a higher order of sannyas. Mahaprabhu was anyway saying, I belong to a lower order of sannyas, so I don't deserve to sit with you. But Prakashananda, here it says, Apane Prakashananda hatate dariya Basaila sab madhye samana korea. Prakashananda Saraswati, however, caught Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu personally by the hand and seated him with great respect in the midst of the assembly. And he's a person who's been criticizing Mahaprabhu, but Mahaprabhu devises a means by sitting in that place where he washed his feet. Then Prakashananda shows some courtesy, but that may be formal courtesy, but at least Mahaprabhu devised this in such a way that it gave Prakashananda a little bit of sukriti, by bringing him personally and seating him with respect in the assembly, and actually gave some sukriti to Prakashananda Saraswati. Then Puchila Tomaranam Sri Krishna Chaitanya Kesha Bharatira Sishya Tate Tumidanya. Prakashananda Saraswati then said, I understand that your name is Sri Krishna Chaitanya. You are a disciple of Sri Kesha Bharati, and therefore you are glorious. Sampradayika sannyasi tumi raha egrame ki karane ama sabarna koradarshane. You belong to our Shankar Sampradaya and live in our village, Varanasi. Why then do you not associate with us? Why is it that you avoid even seeing us? Yeah, why is this? Sannyasi hoya kora nartanagayan babuka sab sange loya kora sankirtan. You're a sannyasi. Why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your Sankirtan movement in the company of fanatics? This is a challenge by Prakashananda Saraswati to Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur writes in his Anubhashya that Mahaprabhu, who is the object of Vedanta philosophical research, has very kindly determined who is an appropriate candidate for studying of Vedanta philosophy. The first qualification of such a candidate is expressed by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu in his Sikshastika. Srinadapi sunichena tador iva sahishnuna amanina manadena kirtaniya sadahari. This statement indicates that one can hear or speak about Vedanta philosophy through the disciplic succession. One must be very humble and meek, more tolerant than a tree and more humble than the grass. One should not claim respect for himself, but should be prepared to give all respect to others. One must have these qualifications to be eligible to understand Vedic knowledge. So what's it say you're reading there? It has that? What is mentioned there?
Which part?
In text number 68.
68, okay, one sec. This iPad is very slow.
Here it's talking about Trinadapi Sunijena Taror Iva Sahishnuna. Yeah?
Okay, 68. No, sorry, that's 86. I don't see any, there's no commentary on 68, there's some commentary on 67.
Okay, well here it mentions a comment by Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur.
It might be borrowed. There's a long commentary on 71. Maybe it's from that. What's the...
Okay.
Yeah, here, it's wrong. It's on the commentary on 71 here. So what's the point in question?
You are sannyasi, why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your Sankirtan movement in the company of fanatics? I was just wondering how the purport of Trinada Pisuni Chena related to that. So
here it's saying, I mean, in his commentary, starting from 71, he says that Mahaprabhu, who is the actual embodiment of the absolute truth, and actually represents the Vedanta, has taught, by way of ascertaining who is qualified to study Vedanta, by saying, by saying the person described in this verse is qualified to follow the path of the Shastra.
Okay. Well, that's what it's saying here in 69, but I didn't see exactly how they, he says first, you are sannyasi, why then do you indulge in chanting and dancing, engaging in your Sankirtan movement in the company of fanatics? And then that was the commentary, so I was wondering how that related. So I can see how it relates, but it's actually from another purport. Vedanta patana jnana sannyasira dharma tahachari korakene bhavukera karma. Meditation and the study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these to dance with fanatics? Prabhave dekiye toma sakat narayan hinachara korakene ite ki karan. You look as brilliant as if you were Narayan himself. Will you kindly explain the reason that you have adopted the behavior of lower class people? Prabhu mane shuna Sripad ihar karan Guru more murkadeki korilas shashad. Mahaprabhu replied to Prakashananda Saraswati, my dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool and therefore he chastised me. He said, my spiritual master, Guru more murkadeki korilas shashan. That's, then in that purport you mentioned, that's previous remark comes, but anyway, I'll continue. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu replied to Prakashananda Saraswati, my dear sir, kindly hear the reason. My spiritual master considered me a fool and therefore he chastised me. Murka tumi tomar nahika vedantadikar Krishna mantra japasara e mantrasar. You are a fool, he said. You are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy and therefore you must always chant the holy name of Krishna. This is the essence of all mantras or Vedic hymns. And let's see. Well, I'm going to continue tomorrow because this is actually dealing with the conversion of the mayavadi sannyasis, and I'll keep it kind of intact for tomorrow Mahaprabhu's comments. We heard Prakashananda Saraswati's accusations. He's saying, you're supposed to be studying Vedanta, but you don't seem to engage in studying Vedanta. Instead, you just always dance and chant in Sankirtan, like a fanatic. You're always in the like a sentimentalist, and you're always in the association of fanatics. But yet you belong to apparently you belong to our Mayavadi community, or should belong to it, because you're a disciple of Keshavarti and you're in our sampradaya. That's what he was thinking. So please explain your behavior. This is setting. Remember the events that the Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra are upset because all the Mayavadis are criticizing Mahaprabhu. And then a Brahmin comes and says, I've invited all the Mayavadi sannyasis and I would also be, I really want you to come. Please accept my invitation. Mahaprabhu smiles and accepts the invitation, although normally has nothing to do with Mayavadis. He never associates with them, and he goes there. And Mahaprabhu gets there, washes his feet and sits down in an unclean place, and at the same time shows this brilliant effulgence, which is unusual. Then everyone looks at him, they see this effulgence, and they all stand in respect. And then Prakashananda Saraswati, their leader, comes over, takes Mahaprabhu by the hand, and sits him with respect in the assembly. Then after sitting him with the respect, he begins to question. Well, why is it that you're a member of our community, but you always avoid us? You never come around. And furthermore, normally we see that you're a sannyasi and you're in our sampradaya, but your behavior is very odd. Always just chanting and dancing. We never see you engaged in Vedanta or any serious study. So can you please explain this? It's a direct kind of confrontation to Mahaprabhu, politely done. First he seated him nicely, didn't just hurl ridicule at him, but he brought him in, respectfully seated. So tomorrow we'll hear about this, because this constitutes really what is, the actual, I always find this very interesting, because the actual Leela of the Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu comes in the 13th chapter with Mahaprabhu's birth. And then it goes on, Mahaprabhu growing in his boyhood and then childhood, and it goes all the way through the Adi-lila towards the end where Mahaprabhu takes sannyas. But this is the 7th chapter, and it is preceding. It is a chapter which has followed the description of, 6 verses about Mahaprabhu, 5 verses about Nityananda Prabhu. We could say all the explanation about Mahaprabhu, his, who he is, everything, and then Nityananda Prabhu, Advaita Charya. It's the 6th chapter of Adi-lila, and this is the 7th chapter. It's 6 chapters before Mahaprabhu's actual appearance, describing his birth. And this is a chapter that's dedicated to the Pancha-tattva. But yet, in this chapter, preceding all the chronological development of Leela, is this commentary about Mahaprabhu having taken sannyas, going to Benares or going to Varanasi and converting all the mayavadi sannyasis. And there's also mention of his speaking, teaching Srila Sri Sanatana Goswami. So that kind of presents a focus on this activity which is going on in the 7th chapter. Do you have a comment about that, Maharaj? But it is something that's, here's a part of the later Leela, but it's given some very prominent focus here in the Pancha-tattva chapter. Well, it's describing how Mahaprabhu took sannyas and how he goes to Benares and all this. Anyway, we saw that when Srila Prabhupada was presenting the Chaitanya Charitamrita. For me, it was interesting. The first volume he presented was actually the volume at that time, which was Adi-lila, the 2nd volume. It came first. And the first thing that we read about Mahaprabhu in the actual Chaitanya Charitamrita was this 7th chapter of the Adi-lila. So, and then describing the conversion of mayavadis. So I find it interesting, the prominence of this activity before we even hear about the actual appearance of Mahaprabhu, 13th chapter, the verses we always sing in Navadip during Gaur Purnima. And after this chapter, there will follow a description of the tree of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the branches and all the prominent devotees. So that will come after this chapter. So anyway. Now, do you want to sing Adi-lila? Hari Haraya Nama Krishna Jarabhaya Nama Jarabhaya Madhavaya Keshavaya Nama Gopal Govinda Ram Shri Madhusudan Giridhari Gopinatha Manana Mohan Shri Chaitanya Nityananda Shri Advaita Chandra Janardan Shiva Sadi Gora Bhakta Vrinda Jai Rupa Sanatan Madhya Ragunan Shri Jiva Gopala Bhatta Dasa Ragunan Jai Gosai Kori Charana Manan Jai Te Vignana Shavishta Puran Jai Gosai Jarmui Taranas Tasavar Padarinu Mora Panchagras Tare Charana Sevi Bhakta Sanivas Janame Janame More Abhilas Jai Gosai Jabe Bhaje Golabas Radha Krishna Nitya Lila Korila Prakash Anande Bolo Hari Bhaja Vrindavan Shri Guru Vaishnava Pade Manjai Aman Shri Guru Vaishnava Pad Padma Koryas Harinam Sankirtana Kohe Naradamudana Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare. Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hara Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo, Hari Bo. Jai Saparikara Shishi Guru Guranga Gandharbika Giridhari Ju Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Charyasta Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Sundar Govinda Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Paramahansa Paravajaka Charyasta Tara Sadashi Shimad Srila Bhakti Rakshidhar Dev Goswami Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Bhagavan Srila Bhakti Sananda Saraswati Goswami Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Gaur Kishore Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Satchidananda Bhakti Vinod Thakur Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Vaishnava Sarvabhauma Srila Jagannath Das Babaji Maharaj Ki Jai. Rupanuga Guru Bharga Ki Jai. Namacharya Srila Haridas Thakur Ki Jai. Shri Rupa Sanatana Bhatta Raghunath Shri Jiva Gopal Bhatta Dasha Raghunath Shad Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Premsi Gaur Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shri Vasudeva Shri Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami Prabhu Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita Ki Jai. Srila Vrindavan Das Thakur Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Bhagavat Ki Jai. Naradam Srinivas Shyamananda Prabhu Ki Jai. Vishvavaranya Srila Bhakti Vedanta Swami Maharaj Prabhupada Ki Jai. Jai Om Vishnupad Srila Bhakti Nirmal Acharya Maharaj Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Madhacharya Vrinda Ki Jai. Nandakoti Vaishnava Vrinda Ki Jai. Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Mat Ki Jai. Soquel Sri Chaitanya Saraswati Seva Ashram Ki Jai. Shri Radha Krishna Go Gopi Govardhan Sham Kunda Radha Kunda Kalindi Yamuna Jo Ki Jai. Samaveda Bhakta Vrinda Ki Jai. Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ki Jai. Sripad Bhakti Kamal Tyagi Maharaj Ki Jai. All the assembled devotees Ki Jai. Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol.
Jai Om Sripad Srila Bhakti Pavan Janardan Maharaj Ki Jai.